Did you know that Lord was a 4-letter word? But God's a 3-letter word. There's Kitty. Hi, hon. Getting on my car to make sure I won't go anywhere? I'm probably not too far from the truth. Okay, Conversationists Interruptus, Part 2. No wonder I smoke so much. I have so much to say. So where were we? About parenting, right? Okay, so, excuse me. Thank you very much. Thank you. My compliments to the chef. You have your child, and then for the next 18 years, you're kind of incarcerated. So wait a minute. We kind of went from like the draft in the military. We want you to be a parent. Okay? And then for the next 18 years, you're incarcerated, joined at the hip, as it were, with said child. And we don't usually do it once. I did. But most of us do it multiple times. Okay. Well, one thing we have learned in the human experience is that that's kind of the reason why we're here. For better or for worse, to procreate, right? Mixed in with some recreating. But when those times come down the pike, there's a couple ways you can handle it. You can get on the stick and handle it and become the parent and take the responsibilities, which is definitely the noble and antiquated way, right? Or you can opt out and have an abortion. Or you can kind of go sideways with it, go full term and give it up for adoption, right? Which is what happened to me in my case. And I've been through all three as the man. I've raised a child to adulthood. I've had to chip in on an abortion. And I myself have been adopted. So I guess that gives me a little credence to, understand all the sides of how we get here or don't get here. But I think as every generation elapses into the ages of time, there's different strategies and formulas to, raising children. And I got to tell you the truth. I don't think we've mastered it. I mean, we may never master it. The true art of parenthood. There's one thing we both know is that it doesn't come with an instruction booklet, and the stork doesn't fly with a little gunny sack or whatever the hell it is, some kind of weird napkin or I don't know, and drop the baby down the chimney, because that would just be cruel. And I don't know I guess storks could handle the weight of a 8-pound, 6-ounce or 10-ounce child. I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. See, now I'm going someplace else. I watched too many cartoons as a kid. But they didn't make me crazy. I made myself crazy. By taking things personally and taking too many things to heart and being abused by too many people. But we won't broach that right now. No. Mr. Matthias, how are you, sir? Buddy, you want to go inside? You want that option? Yes, sir. Of course, being here in the garage or in the house, it's probably at least a 15-degree swing in temperature. But back to parenting. There is no set way, and it's just a hell of a task, and you don't really know what it's all about until you become one. You participate. You can sit here and hear the stories and listen to the songs and watch the videos, as it were, but until you just get out there in front of a live audience, man, you really don't know what playing live is all about. But, my thinking is, with the way things are going today, I clearly see that, a lot of parents are overwhelmed, and in some cases, rightfully so. I think, waiting longer is definitely smart than starting out too soon. Trying to get yourself quintessentially prepared. I think in today's world, unless, you come from a very, very wealthy family, or you discovered a new kind of ice cream, you're never going to be all that financially ready to do it. The way the system is right now, hell, it's hard enough just trying to find a way to make it for yourself as the adult. But let's take this inside. But it's doable, But I think the first thing you have to have, if you want to do it right, is the right person. And if you have that, busted. Mr. Matthias in his water cup, right here. Yeah. That just became your cup, didn't it? It sure did. It sure did. Let me tell you something real fast about Matthias. Matthias likes magic water. What is magic water? Magic water is that he likes to come in and see his cup full, but he doesn't like to see it refilled. He's like, no. I don't want to know how it gets there. I just like to see it there. I don't need to get down with the process of, excuse me again, on how it gets full. I just like to see it full. But that said, Matthias is an ongoing project, kind of like a perpetual child. But in his case, a very well-behaved child. Now let's broach behavior. I often thought that as I look back on my youth and who I was at that time, I'll admit to you, I was a handful. I think a good handful. I didn't run with gangs, or, mom caught me wearing her dresses, or, I was out, frying insects with a magnifying glass, or breaking into people's houses, or being a bully. Actually, I was the anti-bully. I was one because, being a bigger redheaded kid who was kind of unhappy with life and being adopted, if I saw somebody picking on a retarded kid or picking on a girl or something, that wasn't right, I'd step in and, let them know they're the error in their ways. I was more of a protector than an instigator. And I think I still am. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, raising children, I think it's one of the most noble things you can do. But hands down, it's the most arduous, almost the feeling of a never-ending story. When I was raising my daughter, sure, there were times I'm like, when is she going to come of age and go to college? And then there were times I just couldn't have been happier. And now there's the times like now where it'd be neat to see her come barreling through the front door. It does go by quick. When you're a kid, you hear parents say, "Oh, such and so is just growing up so fast," and you're that such and so, and you're like, "The hell I am! This is like taking a few minutes too long." And depending on, I think, your upbringing, it may take longer in a way, but it is what it is. 18 years is 365, 24 a day, and every four an extra day on leap year, and the math is the same. Time isn't based on the time that you're in. Well, back in the 1800s, time was a lot faster, but now in the 2000s, things are slower. No, time is what it is. By the gauges that we have set in throughout history. That's just how we do things. Rather, the measurement that we use, the algorithms are the same. But of course, in these times, over the 1800s, we live longer if we take care of ourselves, which is good. But when you're raising children and you're having problems with them and they're having problems with you, to a certain extent, that's completely normal. And my phone is down to 15%. But what do you do when things get to a point of, kind of spiraling out of control, and, you're losing levels of communication with them that you're used to or would prefer? And we'll get into that in the next one, but I'm going to charge my phone here a little bit. So